Boy oh boy, this is gonna be the longest video I have ever made, but I'm proud of it. What is up, guys? It's me, the ALE Prince. By the time you're watching this, I'll probably be at work. I'm definitely gonna set this as premiere because I don't have all night to stay and make sure that this video is up. I've been working on this all day. I did watch NXT and AEW. And part of the reason I watched NXT and AEW is because it kind of motivated me to continue on with this. Because for the most part, I think WrestleMania 36 was good. I enjoyed what we got. But here's personally what I would have done, and maybe even help develop the future of WrestleMania. And maybe it could even bring in more fans because let's forbid, we need as many fans as possible for this WrestleMania specifically. We were in a pandemic, obviously, and I think the WWE should have done everything they could to promote WrestleMania as one of the biggest ever. They should have done everything. They had Rob Gronkowski, they had John Cena, they had a lot of people to help promote. They just never took advantage. They kind of dropped the ball with these guys. And for the most part, people are really been digging guys from NXT. They really think that Keith Lee is one of the biggest names. People who I don't know that well know who Keith Lee is. That is impressive. People know who Adam Cole is. People know who Matt Riddle is. People know who Rhea Ripley is. So I think they had a good idea as to what the hell they were gonna do. They just kind of went mishmash over what to do. And part of this video is because I'm going to do, basically, not only will I be doing a rebooking of WrestleMania 36, but I'll be rebooking the entire road to WrestleMania, changing up a couple of things, as well as give you shows after WrestleMania. I'll do a writing of those shows. So let's just begin, and don't worry, there will be in the link down below parts of where you want to see it, so don't worry about that. If you don't want to sit through this, I understand. So anyways, let's get started. Okay, yeah, we're back. Yes. Okay, so what to know heading into WrestleMania 36. For starters, Charlotte and Drew McIntyre both still win the Royal Rumble, and they both challenge Rhea Ripley and Brock Lesnar. Edge and Randy Orton, that is the exact same way. Edge's return and Edge's comeback story, that is brilliant. The only thing I would take off is the MVP, because MVP does not debut at the Royal Rumble, or does not return at the Royal Rumble, but he does return at WWE eventually. Also, the pandemic causes the show to be too big for just one night. They try everything. They make WrestleMania as big as possible. They got Rob Gronkowski hosting the show still. Also, because of the pandemic, NXT TakeOver Portland and the WWE Hall of Fame do get canned. However, Triple H on the NXT, where they did Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, that long video package that took the entire show over, Triple H announces that NXT will be a part of this year's WrestleMania. And as far as the Hall of Fame goes, the Hall of Famers will not necessarily give their speeches. That will be saved for a different time. However, there will be video packages of each Hall of Famer. There was a total of 6 Hall of Famers this year, so 3 on one show, 3 on another show, and that would be cool to just at least acknowledge that the Hall of Fame exists. So there's that. Also, Sami Zayn will not be defending his newly won Intercontinental Championship due to the fact that he will be leaving to Canada. So even though Sami Zayn is the Intercontinental Champion in this timeline, Sami Zayn will not be participating at WrestleMania or even defending the IC belt. That's going to be a big one. Usos never come back. they do not show up and help out Roman Reigns. Instead, Heavy Machinery helps out because Dolph Ziggler and Otis are feuding. So instead, it's like Roman Reigns and Heavy Machinery. Roman Reigns gives the rub to Heavy Machinery, continuing the feud between King Corbin, Dolph Ziggler, and Robert Roode. Drew Gulak in the beginning of the year starts forming a winning streak. He has some cool little matches, and then eventually he wants to train Daniel Bryan, kind of like in real life. But instead of happening like out of nowhere, it happens immediately after his loss against The Fiend. After the match against Bray Wyatt, Daniel Bryan is backstage, and then Drew Gulak's like, "Listen, you could use some good training. I'm gonna be in the Royal Rumble tonight, and I will show you what I'm made of, and maybe that will impress you." Obviously, Daniel Bryan is impressed. They do start like having this like will they, won't they, but eventually they do team up, and they are the ones going into the tag team elimination chamber match, not the Usos. So keep everything of that elimination chamber the same. Only switch the Usos with Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak. And I also gave him a tag team name. I call them the American Dragons. It fits. Daniel Bryan's the American Dragon. Drew Gulak dresses up in a flag, so that'll be cool. A big one. Goldberg never beats The Fiend. Goldberg doesn't even show up. He doesn't come back. Instead, what happens? Roman Reigns is the runner-up in the Royal Rumble, like in real life. So The Fiend is impressed, so he wants Roman Reigns at Super Showdown with no interference, obviously. And Roman Reigns loses to The Fiend, but then King Corbin challenges Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. That match is set for WrestleMania. However, due to the pandemic, Roman Reigns never shows up. Also, finally, the Andre the Giant Battle Royal will consist. One night will be the Andre Battle Royal, and the second night will be the Women's Battle Royal. And to make it all cool and to make sure there's enough people in that Battle Royal, we do 5 Raw wrestlers, 5 SmackDown wrestlers, and 5 NXT wrestlers from each show. Like I mentioned, NXT will be a part of this year's WrestleMania. And finally, the way the show is set up, it'll be 3 Raw matches, 3 SmackDown matches, and 2 NXT matches. Got it? Alright, let's begin with Night 1. Night 1 continues the exact same way it started. Stephanie McMahon announces, but she won't be a coward about it, she will announce that there will be a pandemic. Pre-show, or that there is a pandemic. Anyways, pre-show of the first night will be the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. The winner, Sheamus, a SmackDown guy. He really had nothing to do with it. Kind of made no sense to bring him back if he wasn't going to be a part of WrestleMania. So, at least put him in the Andre Battle Royal and have him win. The Battle Royal doesn't mean much, but Sheamus at least is a credible person to win it. So, there's that. Anyways, now the real show starts. Stephanie McMahon announces that due to the COVID-19 and due to the pandemic, we are locked in quarantines, but the WWE roster will do the best they can to make this a special night for all of you watching at home. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the show. Something to that extent. We do the whole America the Beautiful video package, and then the video package for WrestleMania 36, the main one with the pirates and stuff talking, I would actually have like a story going on in like Night 1 and Night 2. Maybe it's too late to like redo everything, but I'll give it a try. Like just like these guys sailing ship, maybe like a couple of fans. And in the first video package, we highlight every match that's gonna happen on that show. And then on Night 2, we highlight the matches that are gonna happen on that show. So anyways, now we move on to the main show. We open up with Rob Gronkowski thanking the fans watching at home that they're sticking around and that he is so happy that everybody's here. Also, let's just begin with the show. And the first match we have is a Raw match for the Raw Women's Championship, Becky Lynch versus Shayna Baszler. Maybe the match should have been a little bit longer. I think the match should have been more realistically more competitive. Something to that extent. And Also, because we need crowd reactions, we have the Street Profits react to majority of these matches, not all of them, and then in a couple of other matches we may have some other guest or I don't know. But the Street Profits are the main people watching the show. I'll explain more later. But anyways, Becky Lynch, Shayna Baszler is a good opening match. Hopefully, it's a better opening match. The match ends with Becky Lynch like throwing Shayna Baszler through the side of the ring. Shayna Baszler is bleeding. She is distracted, wiping the towel. She pushes the person, the doctor, to wipe off the blood, which distracts Shayna Baszler, and Becky Lynch wins 1, 2, 3, and Becky Lynch retains the championship. I was gonna give it to Shayna Baszler, but based on what happens in real life with Becky vacating the belt and then giving it to Asuka, I would do Asuka and Shayna Baszler at SummerSlam, and that's when Shayna Baszler gets her big victory. That way, when Becky Lynch, if she comes back, we could have that redeeming story of Shayna Baszler versus Becky Lynch once again. Give it something. Now, remember how earlier I mentioned that the Hall of Famers are gonna like have little video packages? So the first one will be right after this match. Davey Boy Smith was gonna be inducted, so we put him a video package of Davey Boy Smith and his accomplishments. Big moment. Little video package. Second match on the card: Matt Riddle versus Keith Lee. How did this match come about? Remember how I mentioned NXT will be a part of WrestleMania this year? So Matt Riddle is has a match on NXT. Keith Lee gets to pick his opponent because he is the North American champion. He gets to defend the belt against whoever he wants, and he chooses Matt Riddle because Matt Riddle was kind of like the guy who made Keith Lee like be part of War Games. He made him feel more confident about himself. So Keith Lee wants to face Matt Riddle. And realistically, the only reason why I have this match is because they're two of the biggest mid-carders in NXT at the time. Now I know that Matt Riddle's in the main roster. It will be a cool little match. And plus, Matt Riddle can defend his tag belts without Pete Dunne. And it's kind of too early to bring Timothy Thatcher into WrestleMania. So anyways, we do Keith Lee versus Matt Riddle for the North American Championship. It's a good match. Mauro Ronaldo and Tom Phillips are on commentary. And Damian Priest is supposed to be on commentary, but he's just watching the match. He's just focusing on Keith Lee. This is important for NXT after WrestleMania when you get to that. So anyways, Keith Lee does beat Matt Riddle, and then at the end they shake hands. It's a cool match. It's a good, like... It'll be a cool match to have, you know, Keith Lee and Matt Riddle. Next up, we were supposed to do King Corbin versus Roman Reigns, but Roman Reigns did not show up. He is yelling at Rob Gronkowski and Mojo Rawley. How like they're all worrying about parties. And then he like, for those of you watching at home, I need to remind you that I was the one who beat Kurt Angle in his farewell match, and you know, basically getting heel heat. He's very angry. And then Elias comes out. He's playing his guitar. Part of the reason why Elias is there. Now, we still have that segment where Baron Corbin... Now, what I would do with Elias, so... I would have Elias and King Corbin have a match somewhere on SmackDown. Maybe when we still had a crowd. I don't remember exactly when we stopped having a crowd, but one episode of SmackDown, Elias wins with the help of Roman Reigns, and we're thinking that Elias is going to be his opponent, but the SmackDown Go Home show to WrestleMania, but King Corbin, that's the night where King Corbin throws Elias down the curb. Elias is all booted up, but he's like, hey, I may be booted up, but I'm here to introduce your opponent tonight. I'll give you a hint. And then he starts playing a song, a specific song, No More Words. I forgot the name of the singers, but No More Words is a theme song, the old theme song to Jeff Hardy. Yes, Jeff Hardy comes out, and then we actually do play the song, Do You See Me Rising on the Wild? Jeff Hardy comes back. He has like a quick maybe 4 minute match, 3 minute match against King Corbin. Jeff Hardy wins. He gets his big victory in his first singles match at WrestleMania, I believe. Yeah, I think it's his first singles match, and he wins the match. This shows that even though Matt Hardy's in AEW, they're gonna be professionals and treat Jeff Hardy like a mega star. So Jeff Hardy beats King Corbin, the guy who retired Kurt Angle. It'll be a cool match and a big moment. And sometimes you need that in WrestleMania moment. Next up, the last man standing match, Randy Orton and Edge. I'll keep the belt the exact same way, minus the MVP thing. I'll keep the Matt Hardy thing, that was awesome. But the match would be a lot different in my book, because the match, the one that really happened, was kind of lame. I would have Edge's music hit. You're like, oh shit, Edge is gonna make his big entrance, but he doesn't come out. Instead, we see backstage Randy Orton and Edge beating the crap out of each other. They decided to ring the bell that the match started. They're just beating the crap out of it. It immediately starts backstage, and then they eventually work their way into the parking lot. They go immediately to the parking lot. They don't not go like through the training center. They just go to the parking lot. Something different, because Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, the last time they were in the Performance Center, they went all over the freaking arena, or not the arena, the Performance Center. They went to offices and all that stuff. This time they specifically just go to the parking lot. They throw each other in cars. They open up the cars, and then they get hammers, not hammers, they get bats and stuff like that, chairs. Like, each car has its different weapons, so that would be creative. And at the end of the day, they have the same finish with Edge hitting Randy Orton with the chair. It'll be a little bit shorter. I'll give it 15 to 20 minutes. That's a good amount of time to have this match. And then Edge has this big moment, his big return moment. As far as what I would do with Randy Orton afterwards, I'm going to be real. I would probably work a way to have Randy Orton in AEW. I know he didn't go because of the money, but come on. If WWE is willing to give them Randy Orton, I guarantee you this will motivate them to be better and improve on the ratings. And it'll be a legit ratings war. I think this is the best thing they could do. Maybe Triple H and Cody can negotiate. That's just wishful thinking, but you get what you get. Whatever. Next up, for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, the ladder match. Now, Miz unfortunately does get sick, so we do not have this match. The original plan was supposed to be Miz and Morrison, New Day, and the American Dragons. Instead, we're going to get John Morrison, Kofi Kingston, and Daniel Bryan. That's it. A triple threat ladder match. It will be cool to have John Morrison win, beating the last two WWE champions. This puts John Morrison on the map, beating the last two WWE champions before Brock Lesnar. So this will put John Morrison on the map, and it'll be a cool just throwback of Kofi and Bryan from the previous year, this time for the SmackDown Tag Team Champion. Now, because Daniel Bryan did lose his match, however, there is something great that came out of it. Daniel Bryan's wife got inducted into the Hall of Fame, and her sister, the Bella Twins. Unfortunately, I think they was too early to bring him there, but fine, have him in the Hall of Fame. So anyways, they have a video package for the Bella Twins. Then we go straight to Rob Gronkowski and Mojo Rawley congratulating the Bella Twins. They're talking to them. They are on Skype, the Bella Twins. They're talking for a little bit, and then R-Truth just, I don't know where, just pops up. He just wants to hide from people so they don't steal his title or his baby. He's just holding his belt. Rob Gronkowski punches him. Then Mojo Rawley pushes Rob Gronkowski to the side. 1, 2, 3. Mojo Rawley's your 24/7 champion and runs away, like in real life. Next, we have for the NXT Women's Championship, Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair. Now, people say this is a Raw match. I consider it an NXT match because it is for the NXT Championship. NXT Women's Championship, nonetheless. I'd keep the match the same. The build-up was good for the most part. I definitely really enjoyed the match. I think it was, like I mentioned in my previous video, that Charlotte and Rhea Ripley was my favorite match of night 2. So I keep it the same way, and I still have Charlotte win. As far as what we do with her later, that's all, take it or leave it. Then the final person that they're gonna show for night 2, in the Hall of Fame class of 2020, John Bradshaw Layfield, JBL. They have a big video package for JBL in the Hall of Fame, and then JBL actually comes out and he sits on commentary, ready to talk about the next match. He's going to be on commentary for the next match, and that next match is John Cena and Bray Wyatt for the Universal Championship. It's not going to be a Firefly Funhouse match because I personally was not the biggest fan of that match. It really wasn't a match. However, I think they could do something creative, and I'm going to copy Adam Blampier from Wrestle Talk. I would have John Cena and Bray Wyatt be in the match. Now, because we need crowd noises for this specific match, we have the puppets, like Porky's, Vince McBossman, everybody being in this show. Like, basically, they're going to be on the crowd. John Cena's a little bit distracted. He's beating up the Fiend. He gets an upper advantage. He even hits a FU, or an attitude adjustment, whatever you want to call it. He hits it, but Bray Wyatt kicks out at 1. Eventually, Bray Wyatt grabs him in the lock, the mandible claw. He does it, and then the lights turn red, and then you hear like a siren, like, ee! The lights go out, the lights go back on, and then it's John Cena, Dr. of Thugonomics. He fights Bray Wyatt. He does different moves. He puts the Kimura lock, or the Kimura lock, the friggin' mandible claw again. They do the lights go red, then the lights go black, and then it's John Cena Ruthless Aggression, the way he debuted. And then John Cena does not have that many cool moves. He just does this all the time. It's silly. Everybody was laughing. The people are just like losing it. And even we have the epic line, "This is such good shit." And then we all know where this is going. The Fiend gets the mandible claw one last time, but this time John Cena disappears, and by default Bray Wyatt wins. It will be a cooler match. It will be a more interesting match. When I heard that booking from Adam Blampier, I gotta give him a congratulations. That was honestly better than the Firefly Funhouse. And not anything against the Firefly Funhouse. I did enjoy some of the segments in that match, but it was just weird to me. And finally, we conclude WrestleMania Night 1 with Undertaker and AJ Styles, the Boneyard Match. Keep the feud the same, keep the match the same, keep everything the exact same way, because this was the best match of the entire show. So imagine all the stuff I just did plus the Boneyard Match that we got. Perfect. Undertaker wins, gets his big moment. He drives off and hopefully retires. And my universe, he would retire. So that's the end of Night 1. WrestleMania Night 2. We kick off with Stephanie McMahon once again thanking the fans for coming back for WrestleMania. Women's Battle Royal. Liv Morgan wins this one. The final two are Natalya and Liv Morgan. Natalya looks like she's going to win, but Liv Morgan gets a big advantage. It'll be a cool moment, and Liv Morgan, I love Liv Morgan. She's beautiful, she's funny, she's entertaining, she's a good character. She just got it all. So, there's that. And remember how in the part 1 I mentioned that in the video package that they had boats, or like 2 pirates on a boat just kind of going through? Now, that package ends with like electricity. The first one ends with electricity where the boat shatters and they're stuck in an island. And so they're kind of stuck in one night. And then they eventually fix the boat and they head off to night 2 where they show off the matches that are going to happen in this show. It'll be a cool little story and something fun to do with the video package. It's something that no one's ever done. And it'll be probably the coolest thing I've done me being a film major, it kind of inspired me to kind of even work on a video package. That's how committed I am to this video, which is crazy. So, anyways, we open up, and then we have Rob Gronkowski open up again, but this time he's a little bit more sad because Mojo Rawley left with his 24/7 championship. He said, "Yeah, night one was fantastic, minus Mojo be stabbing me in the back. But guess what? We're gonna continue the show on. Let's just start off with the night. First match, SmackDown or Women's Tag Team Championships on the line. Kabuki Warriors versus Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. It was a fine match. I liked it. Would I have the Kabuki Warriors win or Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross win? I would have the Kabuki Warriors win because I like them more. Nothing against them, but personally, I would have that. And then after the match, Alexa Bliss just looks at Nikki Cross, and Nikki Cross is like upset, and then Alexa Bliss walks out, turning Alexa Bliss heel because Alexa Bliss as a heel is way much better than a face. By far. Then we do a Hall of Fame Class of 2020 video package. It's Jushin Thunder Liger. It's a cool moment once again. And then the next match, Seth Rollins versus Kevin Owens, no disqualification match. We have the exact same match, same thing with Kevin Owens jumping through the WrestleMania sign and into Seth Rollins. But instead of throwing him back into the ring to pin him, I would pin him right then and there. 1, 2, 3. Kevin Owens is your winner. So technically it's a false count anywhere match, but who cares? It's a match. That's what matters. Next match, another match that really happened. So far 3 matches that actually happened. So it shows that WrestleMania 36 wasn't necessarily that bad, considering what happened. Because I like moments more than I do like matches sometimes in WrestleMania. So Dolph Ziggler and Otis, we have the big moment where Mandy Rose comes out and attacks Sonya Deville, distracts Dolph Ziggler. Otis gets the pinfall. 1, 2, 3. Otis gets the girl. They have a kissing moment. They're there for a little bit. They're happy. And then out of nowhere, you just see Mojo Rawley running out with a bunch of people just chasing after him. And then eventually, that's when Rob Gronkowski jumps and has this big moment, pinning Mojo Rawley, and then he runs off. Then backstage, we have Triple H and Vince McMahon arguing because Vince McMahon's like, we don't have a host for WrestleMania. Rob Gronkowski is gone. We need a host. He said, don't worry. I'll do what I can, but let's just continue on the show, Vince. We got to do what we can. Basically, Triple H is being funny of the story of how we don't have we're doing the best we can with WrestleMania. Just making fun of the situation, just have a laugh. We still have moments where Triple H is holding cameras and stuff like that, and he's on commentary in a couple of the matches. I would have had him in Shayna Baszler and Becky Lynch match. I probably would have had him in Charlotte and Rhea Ripley. Other matches, it will be a cool thing to have. Triple H on commentary, putting over Shayna Baszler, her talent, and Becky Lynch, who's a different Becky Lynch. So it'll be a cool thing to have Triple H be a big center focus on the show, being on cameras, being on commentary, and then having that moment with Vince McMahon. And then we move on to the next match. There's only one commentator in this match, Mauro Ronaldo. He finally is on commentary for the first time ever, and it's against Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. Yes, it's the empty arena brawl. I think the match itself was good. It wasn't fantastic. Part of the reason why it sucked is because too many commercial breaks during the match that it actually happened. So, because there's no commercial breaks, it's nothing to worry about. It does end it's the exact same match that we got with the empty arena brawl that we got in real life. And then it even ends with Karrion Kross and Scarlett just looking through another car. We still have the same ending. It's in a different location. There's that. And then Triple H, we have a sponsor to after the match, and then we have Triple H come out and say Rob Gronkowski left left WrestleMania, but we do have some new hosts for WrestleMania, and here they are: the Street Profits. The Street Profits are up where Rob and Mojo were supposed to be. They're out there hyping up and being promoted. They're not defending the Raw Tag Team belts. I had no spot for them, and I didn't know who to put them against. Andrade and Garza, War Rages. There wasn't a good tag team for me to use. And it comes back after WrestleMania. It'll make sense in the long run. But anyway, Street Profits they're hyping up because they're good hype men. So there you go. And then they announced the next Hall of Fame members, the NWO. So Hulk Hogan, Scott Hall, and Kevin Nash. Those three only. I will not have X-Pac be in the Hall of Fame again, unless they were going to put the Big Show, but the Big Show apparently didn't retire yet, so who knows. But yeah. You know what? Fuck it. I would do Hulk Hogan, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Big Show, The Giant, and Six, or Sean Waltman. I would have those five in the NWO Hall of Fame. Or in the WWE Hall of Fame. That would be a cool moment. And the NWO will show up at this WrestleMania. More on that later. Next match, the US Championship match. Bobby Lashley versus Aleister Black. How does this match come about? So at the Royal Rumble, I remember this. Rusev and Bobby Lashley were out of the match. They told people that they were out of the Royal Rumble because they got in a big fight in the back. So they were both out. What really happened is that Rusev was injured and they had nothing they didn't really want Bobby Lashley there for whatever reason. But anyways, Bobby and Rusev are out of the Rumble. And because Rusev is injured, we have a rematch at the Raw after the Royal Rumble. It's Andrade versus Humberto Carrillo for the US belt. And that's when someone shows up and says, hey, we already saw this match at the Royal Rumble kickoff. And someone is owed at least one title shot. So that's when they bring in Bobby Lashley. And it's a triple threat match where Bobby Lashley beats both Andrade and Humberto Carrillo. He's the US champion. Lana is praising him. Eventually, Bobby Lashley needs a legit opponent for WrestleMania. That's why we're doing Bobby Lashley and Aleister Black. I like the real match that really happened, but if it had a belt, it would have been a little bit cooler to see it. So Aleister Black and Bobby Lashley happens once again. Then we do for the SmackDown Tag Team, for the SmackDown Women's Championship, the Elimination match, Bayley, Sasha Banks, Lacey Evans, Naomi, and Tamina Snuka. Same match. And it was cool that they set up Bayley and Sasha Banks possibly arguing with each other. But it's a long build story. And plus, Bayley and Sasha are really entertaining right now. They're not great, but they're entertaining. So I'd keep that match the same with the same result. And next match, I hope to God that this match is actually better than what we really got. But it's for the NXT Championship. Adam Cole, baby, versus the Velveteen Dream. Yes. I was going to do Adam Cole versus Roderick Strong, but I think we can still do stuff with the Undisputed Era. So anyways, we do Adam Cole versus Velveteen Dream. No interference whatsoever. If anyone interferes, the belt will be vacated and both men will not be able to fight for the belt. So no interference from anybody. Otherwise, the belt is vacated and neither one of these guys could compete for it. So the match has to be one-on-one. And hopefully it's a better match than what we got because, I don't know, these guys kind of have very disappointing chemistry. Maybe we haven't seen the best of it, but who knows. And who would I have win? Adam Cole, simply for the fact that because Velveteen Dream, I think it's safe to say that the guy is not in the right state, man. He did some pretty fucked up shit. I'm not gonna get personal into that. So, but anyways, I would have Adam Cole win, and he has this big WrestleMania moment. So we have 4 NXT matches on NXT. They officially made history once again. NXT took over WrestleMania. Then we get to the final inductee into the Hall of Fame. Who is the final inductee? Now, personally, I think Batista is a legit Hall of Famer. He is a 100% Hall of Famer, but he was not next in line to be in the Hall of Fame. He should be in next year's Hall of Fame. I think John Cena and Batista should be inducted at the exact same time. That would be a pretty cool moment, like Piper and Hogan, Bob Backlund and Bruno Sammartino, something to that extent. I think John Cena and Batista deserve to be in the Hall of Fame together. So instead of Batista, it's The Rock. We have a big video package for him, and then he actually comes out. The Rock, they actually get some money to bring him out, have a big moment saying that this is probably going to be the weirdest WrestleMania of all time, but guess what? We're having fun. We're going wild. This show has been incredible. He announced the attendance record. No one. But there's millions watching at home, and I thank you for it. Thanks for making the WWE as big as it is for all of you watching at home. Something that just says, thank you, Rock, for at least being there. Thank you, Rock, for these tough times. Thanks for entertaining us for a little bit. And now we move on to the main event. Brock Lesnar versus Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. I would have the match go a little bit longer. Come on, this match should have been at least 13 minutes. That's a fair enough time for these guys. And Drew McIntyre gets his big moment. He is the WWE Champion. And that is WrestleMania. But we're not done. Like I mentioned, will be doing the Raw, the NXT, and the SmackDown after WrestleMania. And it starts right now. Okay, so we start off with the Raw after WrestleMania. This should be a big night. Even though there's no crowd for either Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, there should be at least something that gets people hooked and say, "Holy shit, we need to keep watching Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. We need to still watch these shows and hopefully get us hyped." But we start off the night with Liv Morgan versus Natalya. It goes on for 2 minutes or a minute until Shayna Baszler comes out and beats the crap out of both Natalya and Liv Morgan. And then Shayna Baszler's like, no. I was distracted at WrestleMania. I deserve a rematch. Bring Becky Lynch right now. We're going to have this match right now. And that is when Charlotte comes out. She says that, Shayna, you're not the best. You're not nobody. You're just another diva or another woman that is just irrelevant for the time being. So if I were you, I'd just go back to NXT. Hell, I'm the NXT Women's Champion. That's where I'm going. And if you actually want a shot at the gold, you should face me. And then that's when Triple H comes out because we need an authority figure. He says, no, listen, this at NXT this week, we're going to have a ladder match to determine the number one contender match. But however, Charlotte, Shayna, that sounds like a money match. I'm saving that. That should happen eventually, but not tonight. Both of you go home and do that. Anyways, somewhere in the show, we find Shayna Baszler just like furious with people. She's just beating people up and backstage, and she just loses it until eventually Triple H just says, screw it, go home, get out. And then we have Aleister Black, the new United States Champion, and we are going to do what we did with John Cena. That is the open challenges. Yes, we're going to have the open challenges return once again. Sorry about that, my battery died, but yeah. Aleister Black and Ricochet for the US Championship after Aleister Black has an open challenge. Because if we're going to do Aleister Black just fight a bunch of matches, at least make it an open challenge for the US belt. Something that we haven't seen in a while, at least since last time someone did that was, I believe, Seth Rollins during the IC title run. And hell, Cody's doing it right now, Cody Rhodes, with the TNT Championship. But Aleister Black versus Ricochet will be a cool match, something that gets people excited, like, oh shit, this is a cool match, something new, something different, something fun. And plus, the previous year they were tag team partners for the SmackDown belts at WrestleMania, so it'll be a cool, kind of bring back everything. And Aleister Black obviously wins. Ricochet is upset because he just couldn't get it done. He wasn't at WrestleMania. He couldn't beat Brock Lesnar at Super Showdown. But Aleister Black just picks up Ricochet, and then he just kind of bows to him, and then he just leaves the ring, and Ricochet is just like, pretty happy. And then Triple H is watching TV. Part of the reason why Triple H is on Raw is because he wants to recruit guys, and then he's like, you know what? Maybe he wasn't ready to come to Raw or SmackDown. Maybe he needs to come back home. Basically teasing Triple H wanting to bring Ricochet back to NXT. Then we have the Street Profits come out and they get ready for commentary. They hype up the brand new comer of Raw, the Raw roster, the future face of the Raw Women's Division, Bianca Belair. So Bianca Belair comes out. She has a match with Ruby Riott. It's a good little match to just showcase who Bianca Belair is. Bianca Belair wins. She has a big moment. But because the Street Profits are on commentary, all of a sudden you just hear a bunch of beat-ups, and the Usos are back for the first time since August, I believe. Last time I saw them was Raw Reunion, but the Usos finally make a comeback, and they basically attack the Street Profits. Why are they on Raw, not SmackDown? Is because we've seen them do a lot on Raw, and maybe the Usos want to bring the tag team division some momentum on Raw, so there's that. There's that, and then Triple H is like, what the hell are you guys doing? He's like, kidding me? Those guys are not tag team championship material. They are just dumb, like goofballs, just making all about partying. They hardly even wrestle. Like, why are they tag team champions? Like, we should be the ones fighting for those. We should be the ones being tag team champions. And Triple H is like, well, if you guys want competition, tonight you guys have competition. So this will not be the end of the Usos. So there's that. Next, we have Edge return. He talks about his match with Randy Orton. He's happy. It was a great match. He enjoyed it a lot. It was like freaking fantastic. After that, he just walks out, and then Seth Rollins comes out, says, "Hey Edge, welcome back. You're relevant once again. Last time you were relevant is when I almost punted you and nearly paralyzed you for the rest of your life." And it's like, yeah, part of the reason why I came back is to have a big redeeming storyline, but the biggest thing is to finally get my hands on you. And then they start brawling, and then they get people out to separate them, and the show's going out of control. And that is when Paul Heyman, yes, Paul Heyman, talks to Triple H backstage, and he's like, "Hey, I'm already writing Raw. I'm helping you guys make Raw as good as it can. Why don't you make me the Raw general manager? Just might as well." And then Triple H is like, "Fine. The new Raw general manager, Paul Heyman." So Paul Heyman is now your Raw general manager, and it will definitely help out the storylines. Finally. Anyways, next up, Humberto Carrillo is in the ring. He wants some competition, and that is when we have the returning Montel Vontainius Porter, MVP. MVP has a good little match against Humberto Carrillo. Obviously, MVP wins. Good little match. Now we finally got the Usos. They beat like some local athletes. They beat some jobbers pretty quickly. The Usos win, and then because MVP just had a match, MVP is just sitting there, and then he's just like clapping for the Usos, and then he actually wants to form a stable, and then eventually we get Bobby Lashley. So imagine this: MVP, Bobby Lashley, and the Usos. How fucking sick does that sound? Like, that's like, take my money. That is a good stable right there. Usos, Bobby Lashley, and MVP. That is going to be great. I obviously don't have a stable name for this, but yeah. Next up, Nia Jax returns. She fights Kairi Sane. What really happened, unfortunately, Kairi Sane does get injured, but this does lead to a future feud with Nia Jax and Asuka down the road. Next up, this happened in real life. Drew McIntyre gets an open challenge from the Big Show after fighting Brock Lesnar. Instead of Big Show, it's going to be Andrade Cien Almas, or Andrade. Selena Vega comes out saying that, yeah, how about you take on the man who just took your career? He's like, are you kidding me? I just had a match with Brock Lesnar. I'm not gonna fight this guy just because we had a beef in the past. If he wants to uh, fight me, he has to get in the line like everybody else. And then Selena Vega slaps him. Then Angel Garza and Andrade are trying to beat him up. Then he hits Angel Garza with a Claymore kick, and then he's like, fine, get a ref out here. I'm going to teach this guy a lesson. So we have Drew McIntyre versus Andrade for the WWE Championship. It's a quick little match, but it gets Drew McIntyre over, and he wins. So that's the Raw after WrestleMania 36. What do you guys think? Would you be invested to watch what happens next week? That's kind of like the goal of the Raw after WrestleMania. NXT, baby. NXT, probably the biggest NXT ever because it's the NXT after WrestleMania. How often do we get excited for that? Anyways, William Regal opens up. He's at home just talking. He's like, unfortunately, I will not be able to be there on at the Performance Center, but I'm thanking Triple H for helping the show out and helping the show and building up NXT. And I want to thank the roster that was able to participate at WrestleMania. However, he has some bad news. He found out that Tommaso Ciampa was attacked after his match. He doesn't know who or what happened, but he will get to the bottom of this. And then we have the intro to NXT. We open up with Johnny Gargano coming out with Candice LeRae. He's hyping up Candice LeRae. He's saying that she's gonna win the ladder match tonight on the show, and then he admits he's basically hyping up Candice LeRae. And then Dominik Dijakovic comes out. He's like, "Oh, yeah, you think you're very slick. Yeah, congratulations, making it to WrestleMania. I'm happy for you, but I'm not happy that you attacked Tommaso Ciampa." He's like, "What? You guys saw the WrestleMania match. I won the match, and then I drove off with my wife. What the hell you have against me?" And then Dominik Dijakovic goes, "I know that wasn't it. You attacked Tommaso Ciampa after the match." And Johnny Gargano's like, "No, I didn't. Like, I swear." And then he's like, "Listen, you should just back up, Dominik Dijakovic. I don't care that you're bigger than me. I'm still better than you." And then Candice LeRae slaps Dominik Dijakovic, and then William Regal pops up in the Titantron. He's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, guys. Whoa, guys." Unfortunately, tonight, NXT is booked for the night. It's a pretty busy show. So here's what I'm going to do. Next week, it'll be Johnny Gargano versus Dominik Dijakovic. So next week we have Dominik Dijakovic versus Johnny Gargano. Then we have Dexter Lumis versus Killian Dane in a match. Dexter Lumis wins, and then he gets like a big hype push, or basically he's basically being built up. Dexter Lumis is finally getting built up. He has a quick promo after the match, and yeah, then he just leaves. Then we have a big video package of Keith Lee, his road, like kind of like what happened in real life. They had a big video package for Keith Lee, all his accomplishments and everything he's done so far, how he got big, how he was happy that he was part of this year's WrestleMania. It was a tough one to do, but it's not the same without the fans, but he's very happy that he's still able to do what he loves doing. Just making Keith Lee look like a happy person. Keep in mind, this is a video package. This is not like him in the ring talking. Anyways, after the promo ends, there's a TV, and then Damian Priest just throws popcorn at that thing and just gets mad. And then eventually we go to commercial, we come back, and then an interviewer comes like, "Damian, what's like your problem?" He's like, "You know what my problem is? I was the one calling out Keith Lee, and he couldn't ask to challenge me at WrestleMania. He had to ask Matt Riddle, his best friend, someone that he knows he could beat. He knows he can't beat me. That's why he didn't pick me. He's like mad in this." And then you hear, "Bro, chill. It's Matt Riddle." Matt Riddle comes out. He's like, "Yo, listen, I don't think, listen, I chose I was chosen by Keith Lee because I'm a more viable contender than you are. Hell, I don't even remember the last time you won a match, and then Damian Priest just like gets mad, and then he's like, yo, you wanna like settle this? Let's go in the ring right now. So then we have Damian Priest versus Matt Riddle. The match is going on. Then we have Imperium just walk out. They're just staring down Matt Riddle. It eventually distracts Matt Riddle, and Damian Priest gets the victory. Damian Priest wins. And then we have Imperium attacking Matt Riddle. And then Finn Balor comes out and helps out Damian Priest. Or helps out Matt Riddle, my bad. So, because Finn Balor is not done with Imperium, even though Walter is unavailable. So Matt Riddle and and Finn Balor, two guys who hate each other, are teaming up just because they have a common enemy, that being Imperium, of course. Then they announced in NXT they have this habit of announcing stuff that's gonna happen next week. So we have announcement that we're gonna have the G1 Cruiserweight tournament begin next week. Also, they're gonna have Johnny Gargano and Dominik Dijakovic next week, as well as Adam Cole returning after beating the Velveteen Dream. Spoiler alert: this is when Kevin Owens comes out and challenges Adam Cole for the NXT Championship down the road. So think about it. We're gonna have Ricochet and Kevin Owens in my universe. That'll be fun. In NXT, back in NXT. Now we have the ladder match, the number one contender ladder match. Io Shirai wins. It's still a great match. It's still the match that we got. Obviously, Io Shirai wins. And then after the match, Charlotte Flair comes out in her clothes. She basically holds the championship up. Io Shirai is excited. They're just staring down. It's a quick stare down. And you think that's the end of the show. They have the little logo saying that the show's over. But then the camera cuts like it just goes crazy. And then they show what really happened to Tommaso Ciampa. Tommaso Ciampa is just getting up after his match with Johnny Gargano at WrestleMania. That's when Karrion Kross that's when he sees Scarlett. Who are you? He sees Scarlett. He's obviously turned on by her because Scarlett is hot. And then Karrion Kross comes from the back, attacks him, and then he grabs the camera and he says, NXT, watch out. Boom. And we end NXT there. Alright, the final go-home show, SmackDown. What does SmackDown do differently? Now, somewhere in either at WrestleMania or in social media, somewhere, definitely before SmackDown, we have Sami Zayn put up a video saying that he is he's upset that he will not be able to be defending his newly won Intercontinental Champion, but he promises that once he comes back, he will be ready and he will be fighting for that Intercontinental Championship, basically turning Sami Zayn a babyface once again. I know people like him more as a heel, but it's time to turn him babyface when he comes back. I think him returning as a babyface will be an epic moment for Sami Zayn. And then maybe at WrestleMania 37, he wins the IC Championship back. Whoever that IC champion is. Hell, they can do that right now. WrestleMania 37, Styles and Zayn. Take my money. So anyways, we start off SmackDown after WrestleMania, and we start off with Miz TV. The Miz returns saying that he's the first man to win the belt by not even competing. Like, he successfully defended his belt just sitting at home. Unfortunately, I was sick, but I had to be safe. But now I'm ready to compete. That is when Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak come out and say like, hey, you were not the better man. I bet you couldn't do it by yourself. And then Biggie and Kofi Kingston come out. They're getting mad. And then we set up next week that's going to be The Miz, Drew Gulak, and Biggie for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. This time we switch them around. And spoiler alert, obviously Biggie wins. So there's that. Then, because Sami Zayn had to vacate the belt, we start a tournament tonight. So we do a tournament for the vacant Intercontinental Championship. I'm sorry, I'm doing work here. But anyways, we do Cesaro. The first match is going to be Cesaro versus Chad Gable, aka Shorty G. God, that name sucks. We do that match. It's a quick little match. Cesaro wins the first round. Then King Corbin comes out saying that, yeah, I'm glad I'm being part of this, but I'm not done with Jeff Hardy, and I'm definitely not done with Elias. I hope he loses his match tonight. He's definitely going to lose tonight. But I have to deal with another match tonight against Otis, a guy who pinned me, because in my universe there was a six-man tag match between Roman Reigns and Heavy Machinery, Dolph Ziggler, Robert Roode, and King Corbin. Spoiler, in that match, Otis pins King Corbin, but now he gets his rematch, and if he wins, he gets a shot at the IC belt. So we do Otis versus King Corbin. Otis wins. That'll be a great moment. And then Mandy Rose is happy for him. And during commentary, they keep asking about Sonya Deville, but he avoids it. Otis and Mandy Rose kiss again, and then we do the bloop bloop, like the, not the Raw GM, but the hacker. We do that thing. We have a hype package for the hacker, who is the hacker. Obviously, it's Mustafa Ali, but unlike WWE, I will not cancel that storyline. Then Alexa Bliss comes out. She's a heel now. She's a different Alexa Bliss. It's a moment of bliss time. And her guest is Bayley. She's like, I like to thank you for being a soldier, Bayley. Not only because at WrestleMania we did the exact same thing. We betrayed our partners, and Bayley's like, I did not betray Sasha Banks. What are you talking about? Sasha Banks would do the same thing if she was in my shoes. She would do anything, and we're friends like that. And Sasha Banks comes out. She's kind of mad, but she's like not really mad. She's just kind of staring down at Bayley. And then Nikki Cross comes out because she wants to impress Alexa Bliss. She's at this point obsessed with Alexa Bliss. Basically, we're going to do Nikki Cross versus Alexa Bliss, kind of like Mickie James and Trish Stratus. Similar storyline. So anyways, Nikki Cross wants to impress Alexa Bliss. At the same time, Sasha Banks wants to prove that she's just as good. So then we do a mini match, Sasha Banks versus Nikki Cross. Sasha Banks wins. Big moment. So there's that. Then the next week for next week we announced that there's a number one contenders fatal four-way match. The losers will be part of the Money in the Bank match. The winner will face Bayley at Money in the Bank. As far as who it is, I don't know. Who cares? Like I said, the Kabuki Warriors are still your tag champions in this universe, but eventually, down the road, Bayley and Sasha get those belts. Now, on to continuing the Cruiserweight tournament, or not the Cruiserweight tournament, the IC tournament. If we do Elias, he's playing a song. Sheamus, the Andre the Giant Battle Royal winner, wins, beats Elias because he's still injured from that fall. And Sheamus is your winner. We kind of need to heal, so we have two heels, Cesaro and Sheamus. Then we have Otis, a babyface. We need another babyface. So it will be Daniel Bryan, but who does he beat? Shinsuke Nakamura. We finally do Daniel Bryan versus Shinsuke Nakamura. He's part of the Intercontinental tournament. He's like, wow, this is crazy. I could be the Intercontinental champion and the SmackDown tag team champions. Drew Gulak, I have my hope on you, and trust me, when I become Intercontinental champion, you'll be the first man I face, Drew Gulak. You've redeemed me. You've made me who I am now. You've made me a better person. You've made me love to wrestle once again. Thank you, Drew Gulak. And I basically like a little promo like that. And you would think that would be the end of the show. That is the last match on the show, but it's not the last thing we see on the show. We have a big celebration, the return of Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy comes out, he cuts a promo, how he's like, yes, I've had some bad moments in my life, but I'm a different Jeff Hardy. I'm gonna do my best to be at the top. I don't care who I have to face, who I have to beat, but it'll be epic. This will be my most epic run. Obviously, I'm a lot older, but I still got it. Bray Wyatt is in the Titantron. Bray Wyatt, not the Fiend, but Bray Wyatt. He's just there, happy to see Jeff Hardy, and Bray Wyatt wants Jeff Hardy. So throughout the spring, we do Bray Wyatt and Jeff Hardy for the Universal Championship. That would be a cool storyline, a cool match, something different, something unique. No Braun Strowman. Who cares about Braun Strowman? He's a dick. So in conclusion, I told you what I would do with WrestleMania, what I would do to make people invested in WrestleMania this year, because they need everything they can to get people excited for WrestleMania, as well as get people invested in future Raw, SmackDown, and NXTs to come if they want to be the big guns. Obviously, I gave him Randy Orton in my universe, but come on, who even you guys would have done that. So yeah, I hyped up WrestleMania. I made WrestleMania as big as it possibly could, with some legends there, some Hall of Famers, some moments, some gags, some great matches. I don't know what you guys think of this epic rebooking. I even gave you a Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. How many people could say that? So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed. This is probably going to be my favorite video I've ever done. Thank you guys for watching. Anyway, subscribe to this video if you haven't already. It's me, the ALE, Double X Prince, and until then, I'm out.